Worse. One thing I want to say, many people say he hates white. Listen to him. Whites, in the sense of hate, just hate, don't really hate black people, and blacks just don't hate whites. But it's two natures that will never get along. See, black and white are two opposites. Opposite means something that's 100 degrees different from another. See, the opposite of high is low, the opposite of good is bad, the opposite of right is wrong, opposite of hot is cold, opposite of wickedness is righteousness, and opposite means something's 100 degrees different. So you white and I'm black. See, so by nature, see, if it's your opposite, it's your opposer. If it's your opposer, it's your opponent. If it's your opponent, it's your enemy. So by nature, black and whites have been enemies of one another. Number one, if I take you to Harlem tonight, to all black party where they playing soul music, talking their type talk, eating their type food, culture, dishes, you would not feel at home. Now, if you take me to all white party, playing all your type music and your songs, and I will not feel at home because there's nature. See,
no, I disagree. We will both be in a somewhat unusual environment, but we will both quite enjoy it.
We'll never get along.
You were talking backstage before the program with six people who all happened to be white. Now you got on fine.
Oh yeah, we talk business together, but we'll never be able to live together because our natures. See, when a white black man move in a white neighborhood in America, all white people leave. Well, see, I'm lying. I'm telling the truth.
Some of them may start to, I know, but I mean, you've got white blood in your veins, but it doesn't. You're fine.
White blood in me because old slave masters used our women and didn't marry them, raped them. Some of us look white because the old slave master raped our women.
Well, your great grandfather was an Irishman. I mean, it hasn't spoilt you.
Of course, he's an Irishman. I don't want no mixed up blood in me. I wish I was pretty and black all the way. Who want to be mixed up with other blood? No intelligent woman in watching this show, black or white, want black children marrying theirs and introducing their grandchildren as half brown, kinky head Negroes. No black person or black man or woman watching this show and his or her right black man want white boys and white girls coming to marry their children and in return introducing their grandchildren as little half white, green-eyed, blonde-haired white children. Every man likes a son who look like him. So don't tell me it's not
women in this year's Miss World contest came from black fathers and white mothers, or white fathers and black mothers, whatever's, you know.
I show you some with black mothers and black fathers prettier than the ones won at contests.
But okay, we'll run our own contest. But I mean, you sound like Governor Wallace talking about it.
I'm with Wallace. If I had to vote, which I don't, I'd vote for Wallace because Wallace tells the truth. He talks like way white people feel, but they're hypocritical. As a whole, white folks feel like Wallace.
I said to
and he's one who will tell it. And as a whole, black folks feel like me. You just may be shocked because I'm a so-called rich Negro who left you and went to his own. But let me tell you something. Black folks feel just like me. They just scared to look you in your white face and tell you.
Yeah. Remember that. For instance, Governor Wallace said to me, I asked him the question, would you let your daughter marry a black man? And he got a good deal of criticism because he said he wouldn't want it to happen and no and various.
Right.
But would you want a daughter of yours to marry a white man?
No, you just trying to start something. You just trying to be funny. Why are you trying? I'm not gonna let you make me mad.
Listen, after that demonstration earlier, I don't want you to get mad. You know,
I've been talking about this, now you're going to ask me a fool question like that.
In other words, I mean, you're saying that it was wrong of people to criticize Governor Wallace. He was right.
No, I'm saying I like him because he tells the truth. He don't phone it. He don't go around picking up little black babies. Oh, you're so cute. See, you have a wolf and a fox. Both of them look alike. But when they attack the hen house, the approach is different. See, the wolf, he'll warn you before he attack. You know, ooh. He say, put the hens up, the wolf's coming. But the fox, he tiptoes around the house. See, you have a rattlesnake, and you got them diamondback cobras. Both of them look like they're real pretty. But I like the rattlesnake better because if I get in his way, he'll warn me. But the cobra, he steps up on me, see? So you have a southern white man in America, and you have a northern one. That's how black people stays tricked in New York. Oh, you're so nice. Everything is all right. I get on the jet and fly for 2 hours and get off. I see a bunch of tigers looking at me. See, both of you look alike, and it ain't that much difference in it. Just a 2-hour jet flight. How'd you change so quick? You haven't changed, but you're a little more educated. You're a little more scientific. You know how to smile. And I was raised with colored people. Oh, my mother had a colored nurse. Well, I watch you more than I do in the South, see? Because when I get down in the South, at least when I get out of place, he said, watch yourself, nigger. I said, thank you.
I'm not upset with y'all because I know you're mentally ill, which is why one day I'm going to open up a hospital for mentally ill Africans. I'm going to hospitalize you coons because I care about you and I love you. You're part of our family. I cannot let you go and do what you want to do. I care about the coons, brothers and sisters. I care about the coons, brothers and sisters. We're going to open up a mental health rehabilitation hospital for political coonery. We are going to treat the coons, brothers and sisters. We can't leave them out there. We have to treat the coons. The Dr. Papa Mental Health Hospital for coons. We have to rehabilitate the coons, brothers and sisters. Let us save the coons. We have to do this. We have to do this. We have to do this, brothers and sisters.
What is good, my people? We are live back again, live on the forecast. Shouts out to the Learning Curve Revolutionary Matron, my good sister Raw. Shouts out to all of y'all. I appreciate it. I gotta say, there's only like 2 or 3 weeks left in the push to try to get this money for the Alabama fundraiser. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to all of y'all. I'm definitely gonna hit y'all up, So I mean, I'm done procrastinating. I'm gonna hit y'all up tomorrow. All the people that's been a part of Raw, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna email you, and everybody that's been down with it. So, I appreciate y'all. But like I said, I gotta, at least try to keep pushing that. Now, I'm not gonna be on here long. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna, go ahead and get into it because I saw a couple of videos that I wanted to show, which was like interesting to me, and once I get them, it's hard to get them back, especially in the way that I did it. So if you want to come on, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. You can come on anytime. I can't see while the video is playing, but if you want to come on, you can come on. But let me show y'all this because I know a lot of us like to invite them to the barbecue, you know what I'm saying? So, this white girl, she said that she wanted to invite y'all to, the picnic or whatever. So I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all take up this offer. And this is why I'm, just the first video, but I thought it was interesting.
This question is for Black people only. If I invite you to the picnic, are you coming? You guys always invite us to the cookout, but we never invite you to the picnics.
There you.
All right, yo. So I just wanted y'all to, she's asking y'all if you go to the picnic. If she invited y'all to the picnic, would y'all be willing to go? Now let me show you this other white girl because she's asking a lot of Black women for help here. You know what I'm saying? And I like to see what y'all reaction is to this white girl asking for help.
If you are an African-American mother, I need your help, please. Last night, my son was standing inside of the 7-Eleven in our hometown, like he does 4 or 5 times a week when a white woman came in and decided to start screaming that my son was pulling a gun on her. My son had been in the store before her. My son went to get his phone and some change out of his pocket to see how much money he had. And this woman decided to start screaming that my son was pulling a gun on her. And damn near got my son shot. Yeah, we've been here before. Yes, we have. Okay, but I don't know what to say. What do I say? What do I say to my 13-year-old son when he looks at me with his big, beautiful brown eyes and says, why do they think that of me at 13? Why? What am I doing to make them think that of me? We know they're not doing anything. Please help me. Please.
All right, so black woman, she's begging for your help because her son is getting stereotyped as he should as one of these little mass killers out here who could be having a gun or whatever. Now I don't know why she specifically went to black women for that, but yo, what's going on, my good brother, person, kid? But it's interesting to me that she would come to black women for help, and so I do want to play this video because we've been talking. I'm gonna get on this like Italian thing and like this all around the world because apparently we don't understand how stuff works around the world. But we see this video of this white girl asking for black women's help because her little white boy is getting identified as to what he is. But when it's the other way around, you know what I'm saying? I want you to look at what this club out in Paris is doing. You know what I'm saying? So
we went to restaurant Manco.
Another service is like this.
Ah, ça c'est tenue de soirée. But this is true. This happening. Ceux qui viennent de passer, this is... Attends, wait. Attends. I wanna see.
Every single white person could get in no matter what they were wearing.
Is this some kind of a joke? C'est du...
Attends. Wait, combat.
Okay. Je suis vraiment désolé.
no, even the white boys with the swirling black girls, they thought they got their card when they had the white boys, the Paris white boys, Nope, still black enough to where N-word lovers will get disinvited. You know what I mean?
Mais on est habillés en tenue de soirée là. C'est une blague ou quoi? Attends.
Mais parce que je peux comprendre de way ils portent des jeans, mais on porte pas de jeans.
Attends, quoi? C'est la première fois qu'on m'arrête parce que j'ai réservé, j'ai le message et je suis pas en tenue de soirée, c'est une blague.
Attends, j'ai envie de voir.
I never thought I would live such a degrading experience.
No, it's a black thing. I just want to know if they will let them in or not. Attends.
Allô?
C'est pas possible. Oh my God, this is...
My first experience of racism.
Non, c'est pas possible.
The scene lasted 1 hour. I didn't film everything because I was in shock.
No, wait, let me make my call.
On ne va pas rester ici.
Even though we are not gonna get in, I'm gonna call.
Okay, I wanna know. Regarde, I wanna know. Mais ça me choque, ça existe pour de vrai. Non, ça me choque.
Now I ain't seen not one of them white girls stopping, help them sisters.
Et moi, je veux savoir, c'est quoi mon problème?
But I don't know. I guess we're still surprised by stuff like that happens around the world. You know what I'm saying? Or there you have it. You know, she's inviting us to the picnic learning curve. And while we're on that, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to show something before, like, because it was some things that I was going to show, but I'm going to just like go through this kind of quick. So speaking of her kid as being biracial, she should pick a man. Speaking of the men that they kind of pick, this is something else I did want to show because it is kind of embarrassing and like, and it's starting to be a trend and it has to stop. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, I'm pretty sure y'all saw this video though. All right. So this white girl is explaining why white bitches like black men.
Power over men in their lives. Because obviously all the white men in their lives have always had all the power over them. So white women have whiteness over black men. And obviously to be in any sort of like control feels good, especially when you're used to never being in control. White women feel safe with black men, not only because of the hypermasculinity that they believe black men exhibit, but because of the whiteness and power they hold over black men. This is why also white women can still be racist and be with black men. And be like conservative white women will be like married to a black man. And this is why white women love their black sons and hate their black daughters. Black sons give you access to the patriarchy. They give you power, whereas black daughters don't. White women love black men because of the power dynamic, because white women have never had any power over men in their lives. Because obviously all the white men in their lives have always had all the power over them. So white women have whiteness over black men. And obviously to be in any sort of like control feels good, especially when you're used to never being in control. White women feel safe with black men, not only because of the hypermasculinity that they believe black men exhibit, but because of the whiteness and power they hold over black men. This is why also white women can still be racist and be with black men. And be like conservative white women will be like married to a black man. And this is why white women love their black sons and hate their black daughters. Black sons give you access to the patriarchy. They give you power, whereas black daughters don't. White women.
So she's explaining how this is working, you know. Now I'm gonna show this next thing, and you know, this part, you know, I really don't want to show, but like, yo, it's starting to become a trend, and it's almost like we make excuses for them, and I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to show this, but you know, I almost have to. You know, so this is just some of the kind of demonstrations of like what's going on TikTok and stuff like this right now.
All right, guys. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking about a boyfriend haul, and here is.
I'm not your boyfriend, I'm your husband.
Boyfriend haul. So I got.
And I'm not even gonna go through how many times you played him in this thing here.
Him so long ago. I got him like about 16 years ago, but I had to return him one time. It was a long time ago, but I returned him and he came back better than ever. I like to go for like a chocolate on chocolate, so black on black. I love like purebred. This is a purebred.
I'm confused on what are we doing.
We're giving them.
Now you hear this dot head girl who's not a purebred. You know, the dot head girl without the dot. You know what I'm saying? Talking about a purebred.
A haul. So this is purebred Nigerian from the motherland. I don't like to crossbreed. We got the full Nigerian here. What else? One really good thing about this one is it cooks, it cleans. Actually, no, it doesn't cook. I take that back. That's next season's, but not this season's one. We're working on it.
I do everything else.
The slave play is pretty correct, my good brother. And just to make it excuse, 'cause I know some brothers would be like, well, you know, she's not a white girl. A white girl would never do that, you know. Well, damn.
Boyfriend haul. So this is the one that I have. I met him in 2014, but he wasn't on the market yet. So in 2016, he was on the market, and I decided to see if it was a good investment for me. However, the timing wasn't really right. So it wasn't until the beginning of 2018 that I purchased
it. Well, she takes that back, MG2. She takes that back. It doesn't cook.
this one. I don't know the exact month or day that I purchased this one, but it was in the beginning of 2018. One thing that I love about this one is he can literally do anything, fix anything. If he doesn't know how to do something, he will learn that day. And I mean, look at him. But one bad thing, one con about this model is he's taking a little bit longer than usual to upgrade to fiance mode. So hopefully soon we'll upgrade to fiance
They
mode.
all got
but
that goofy
until then,
smile on their
this is my
face.
boyfriend haul.
My goodness. My goodness. All right. That's enough of that. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit embarrassing, you know. Now, they're like, I'm trying to figure out the difference between, like, you know, of course, white bitches wouldn't have had the power to probably go up on the slave blocks, even though they was buying slaves, you know. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the difference between that and 200 years ago. My good brother Rashid, what's going on, my brother? But yeah, that was embarrassing. I had to show y'all that, you know. And just because I showed y'all that, I have to show a little bit of just a touch of like the other way around, you know. Now, if y'all got something to say about that, y'all can definitely come on and say something. Oh man, MG2. And they all just standing there letting it happen. And apparently this is some kind of trend that's going on. And it's something that needs to stop, you know, if that's the case. But the fact that I found multiple videos of this is the problem. But just because I showed that, I have to show something in the opposite, you know, just to get our equilibrium right.
You worried about more food? You need more food? You need to miss some meals. You need to miss like a whole week of meals. You got the wrong one. No, you got the wrong one. Fucking fat bitch. Yeah.
Now notice this white thing has a biracial child. Not black child, I'm sorry to break it to most of y'all, but this biracial child who has some of her features and some guy that looks like his features. And I can't say him because at least this brother has something to say to her, you know. But notice, you know what I'm saying, this biracial child in the picture here.
And you worried about more food? You need more food? You need to miss some meals. You need to miss like a whole week of meals. You got the wrong one. No, you got the wrong one. Fucking fat bitch. You gotta go find the right one to fuck with.
I'll be that fat bitch.
You messing with the wrong one today, all right? You talking about 2 fucking drinks?
No, I'm not. You don't even know what's going on.
You talking about 2 drinks? Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Go find a treadmill. Do that. And you worried about more food?
And
you need more food?
All right. So yeah, I had to show that. Yeah, I mean, we're selling ourselves everywhere, Raw. That's the sick part. You know what I'm saying? It's different kinds of, and I don't know why I get it, you know what I'm saying? But this does seem to be a common theme running around our people right now, you know what I'm saying? No matter where we seem to come from, you know what I mean? But, you know, at least one brother had the nerve. And I hate to say if she wasn't this fat white bitch, you know what I'm saying? Would he have had the same energy? You know what I'm saying? I'm afraid to even answer that question with these other brothers that we just saw. You know? Of course, a lot of us will accept the invitation to the picnic. You know what I'm saying? That young brother who just got found in the lake and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Who fell in the river. The young brother who went hunting. And they all from different places, and it happened here in America. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, they still sell black. Yeah, they do it. They do in places in Africa. They do places. I mean, it's crazy. Like, and we sit there and allow this to happen. You know what I mean? because we too busy doing stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, a lot of times we'll take that invitation to the picnic, right? Realizing, even though we know, we will tell them the definition of picnic. They made up picnic, you know what I'm saying? We will tell them the definition, but we accept that invitation. And then a lot of times it ends up, you know what I'm saying, terrible for us. And it's regardless, you know what I'm saying, of whatever. But so let me go to the next thing that I'm gonna share. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all just saw what happened to the brother over in Italy right now who got beaten to death in front of a crowd of people. You know what I'm saying? So let me play this.
Italian police have arrested a man for the brutal killing of Nigerian immigrant Alika Ogorchukwu, which was filmed by onlookers with no apparent attempt to intervene. The footage of the daylight attack has provoked outrage after it was circulated online. Hundreds of people from the Nigerian community and Italians, including Ogorchukwu's wife, protested in Civitanova Marche on Sunday.
I want to see the man who killed my husband face to face, and he must tell me why he killed my husband. Why?
Now, that sounds pretty universal for Black. Time to work. What's going on, my good brother? That sounds pretty universal. Like, tell me why you... What? Tell me why you killed my husband? What?
The protesters gathered to call for justice, holding photos of Alika and brandishing Nigerian flags.
We condemn this person, but we also condemn the indifference of those who watched and did nothing. We are with you.
The atmosphere is tense on these streets as emotions run high. Many are outraged that nobody stepped in to help.
That was in Morocco. Okay. Let me see. I think this is
in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erawa has called on the Italian government to cater for the needs of Alika Ogorchukwu's family. Alika was killed in broad daylight last Friday, while onlookers did nothing but watch and record on their mobile devices. News Central's Bernard Akede has more on this.
Nigerians at home and abroad are still reacting on social media following the killing of a Nigerian man in Italy last Friday. Alika Ogorchukwu, a 39-year-old Nigerian, was killed in broad daylight on the streets of Civitanova in Italy, and this has sparked outrage amongst Nigerians and other Africans. Video footage of the attack circulated widely on Italian news websites and social media, eliciting outrage as Italy enters the parliamentary election campaign in which the right-wing coalition has already made immigration an issue. The most tragic part of Alika Ogorchukwu's killing is that the attack, which took place on a busy beach town thoroughfare, was filmed by onlookers who recorded with their phones without any apparent attempt to intervene physically. Giving an update on the case, in a statement on Tuesday, the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri-Erawa, said the suspect, who has been apprehended, will be charged to court by the Italian police.
The case of Alika Ogorchukwu that was gruesomely murdered in Italy is a very pathetic one. Alika was a physically challenged person that was beaten up, just like that. And the guy who beat him up to death used the crutches that he was using to walk to beat him up to death. Now the culprit has been arrested, currently with the Italian police. As I speak with you, the Nigerian embassy and the Italian authorities are holding a series of meetings, and Alika has a lawyer that he has been working with that will be working with the Nigerian mission to ensure that justice is served in this case.
Alika Ogorchukwu's killing occurred just days after two Nigerian students, Tosin Arowosegbe.
Now, let me say something though, right? Okay, yeah, there's no smoke from, what's up, my brother, Koku? I agree with you, you know what I'm saying? And that no smoke for other people tend to keep getting us, you know what I'm saying, murdered. Now, I don't even blame the Italians for standing around watching an Italian. Now, I do blame the black people standing around for watching other people do that to us. You know what I'm saying? That's the issue that we keep having here. You know what I'm saying? And look, I don't understand, but you know.
And Chibuzo Moma were shot dead at a nightclub in Canada where they worked as guards. The NIDCOM chairman said the authorities there were working to get to the root of the unfortunate incident.
Also very pathetic is the case that happened just a few days before in Canada, where 2 Nigerians working legitimately in a club were butchered to death. Again, we have the cooperation of the Canadian authorities. There has been, they've reached out to everyone who knows the suspect. The suspect is already out there and they're doing everything to arrest the suspect. And they've also assured that justice will be done. So we commiserate with the families of these victims and we'll continue.
My goodness. They assure us they're going to investigate. It sounds familiar, right? I assure us they're going to investigate themselves and bring themselves to a just conclusion. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I understand how this thing works too. So, you know, I understand that there's different cultures, but the results tend to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you remember this case, but this is a recent update about that young brother who was over in Greece all those years ago. And I'm going to just play it.
And killed American Bakari Henderson while he was visiting Greece has been delayed again. We expected it to begin this morning. The attack was captured on camera, and we must warn you, the video is upsetting.
Now this is American brother. This is both sides. You know what I'm saying? I don't, because you know, that's, we asked what do we have in common. You know what I'm saying? Apparently we let each other get smoked and don't do anything about it. That's what we have in common.
22-year-old was beaten to death by a mob outside a bar in 2017.
What up, Bakari?
The next year, 9 of the attackers went on trial. 6 were found guilty of deadly assault, but none was convicted of murder. A prosecutor felt the sentences were too lenient, and 7 men went back to court this morning. MTS Tayeb is following the latest developments. MTS, good morning.
Nate, everyone, good morning. Well, already we've learned that one of the defendants, a Greek barman, has been acquitted, but the remaining defendants, all of them Serbian descent, will be back in court on March 11th as Bakari Henderson's family continues their fight for justice.
Not my brother, Bakari.
Bakari Henderson's love for life was as deep as his wanderlust.
That's how you know we on time. Bakari showed up right when we talking about Bakari Henderson.
At just 22 years old, the recent college graduate had already traveled the world. But it was on a night out on the Greek island of Zakynthos that his adventurous spirit was brutally cut short. The woman seen in this surveillance video told police she asked to take a selfie with Henderson.
Now, the common theme is, right, they've accepted their invitation to the picnic. You know what I'm saying?
When a man standing nearby said,
"What up, Tanzan?
There are a lot of Serbians in the bar. Why are you talking to a black guy?" What happened next saw Henderson punched, attacked by a mob, and 30 seconds later, he was dead. In 2018, none of the alleged attackers, all of Serbian descent, were convicted of murdering Henderson, and just 6 were found guilty of the far lesser charge of deadly assault. Since then, at least 4 have already been released. Speaking outside a Greek court this week, Henderson's parents said a retrial needed to happen.
We decided that the first decision was not fair. We felt that they should have been charged with murder.
Something the original prosecutor agreed with. Because Greece doesn't have double jeopardy laws, a retrial was ordered and is now being watched closely by the highest reaches of the Greek and American governments.
Now, CBS News has learned Vice President Kamala Harris has taken what's been described as a, quote, personal interest in the retrial of Bakari Henderson's alleged killers.
Right. And is one more video to that. And this is just recent. This is recent for that case that happened all those years ago. It's not even like rehashing some old. This is the recent stories from this case from a few months ago. You know what I'm saying? Where we seem to be the only ones that have the God of two sides, and it doesn't really choose our side a lot. And it's weird to me.
An Austin family is on their way back to Greece right now to get a second chance at justice for the murder of their son.
In the summer of 2017, 22-year-old Bakari Henderson was traveling abroad when he was beaten to death by a mob on the Greek island of Zakynthos.
KXAN's Monica Madden is here to explain how we got to this point.
Well, Robert, 9 of his attackers went on trial in 2018. 6 of them were found guilty of assault, and at least 4 of them have already been released. No one was convicted for murder. A prosecutor appealed the case and got a retrial, which was postponed until now. I caught up with Bakari's parents about their hopes as they head back to Greece for a 5th time. And we do want to warn you, some of this video you'll see is difficult to watch.
Yo, MG2, come on and break it down.
We're just ready to move on with our life.
The grief of losing their son weighs on Phil and Jill Henderson daily.
And he's felt in my heart every second of the day.
Their son Bakari loved to travel.
He loved engaging with different people, different cultures, learning about them.
He was visiting the Greek island of Zakynthos when a fun night out turned deadly.
It started because someone slapped Bakari, so he was defending himself.
Surveillance video from that July 2017 night shows a mob of men attacking Bakari, beating him until he died.
Because you see them and you can't imagine how could anybody do something like that to another human being, another person.
Unlike the U.S. judicial system, Greece allows to try someone for the same crime twice, giving the Hendersons a second shot at justice.
We just really want to make sure that the defendants are charged with murder this time, because for their defense attorneys to allege that it was not intentional still does not weigh well with me.
As the Hendersons prepare to see Bakari's attackers face to face again, their prayer remains the same.
What is that like, having to go back there again?
We just felt like we would have justice sooner, and then the only way to keep him humanized is for them to at least see our presence as much as they can. We're just hoping that this time our prayers will be answered.
Monica.
Oh my goodness. Now, I'm not sure who we are praying to. They're hoping their prayers will be answered. Yes, we are, Bakari, and it seems to be a universal thing that we have going on. We accept our invitation to the picnic and then wonder why, they actually fulfill the definition of the word. Now, MG2 said, want real outrage. While this brother was being killed, the Nigerian government proposed sending the EU oil and natural gas because of Ukraine taking care of Italians over their own people. All right, and I can't really explain that, definitely if you want to break that down, MV2, or anybody who want to talk about that, you can come on and break it down. But it's an entire thing from governments to individuals is us trying to, maybe we should start praying to ourselves and answer our own prayers. You know what I mean? Like, it depends on what you pray for too, right? So, but you can never change nobody else. I know Bakari and Tanzan missed a lot of the first part. So, if they come on and want to talk about, I'll play those videos real quick. But if not, I'm going to show something that Bitter Medicine podcast show, MG2, you always welcome to come on. Y'all could talk about anything y'all seen on here. But I guess I'm going to just go through these videos real quick because I ain't going to be on here long. And my good brother, Bitter Medicine podcast, talked about this on his platform. So and this goes a lot of different ways. So if you come on, just let me know you on. I'm gonna be checking, you know. I'm gonna put the link in the chat one more time before I share the screen. What's going on, Catherine and friends? Thanks for coming through. Definitely shouts out to Catherine and friends. I'm gonna show this next one because I'm pretty sure some of y'all have an opinion about this too. All right, now my brother showed this about this black socialist group arrested over alleged ties with Russia. And this can go in a lot of different ways, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna try to make it a constructive way. But
America's comedian Kurt Metzger and the most censored man on YouTube currently, Jackson Hinkle. Now, this is going to be
spoken from the mouth of a true white liberal here.
Interesting maybe to you, Jackson, because it's right up here. This guy Jackson pushed back against Ukraine and they censored his channel. So there's a black group of socialists who are also telling the truth about Ukraine, and they got raided by the FBI. FBI raids St. Louis Black Liberation Group alleging Russian ties. Here it is. They're just doing it. Federal investigators raided the offices and homes of leaders involved with local Black Liberation Group under suspicion of Russian collusion early Friday morning. Officials of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and African People's Socialist Party said the FBI performed a violent raid with flash grenades and drones around 5 a.m. Friday morning. At a news conference Friday, Chairman Omar Yeshitadala said he and his wife were handcuffed during the raid as investigators searched their home. He said the FBI threw flash grenades into his home and performed the raid without knocking. Oh, it's one of those no-knock things.
Wow.
So they're still doing that.
How far we've come.
Wow. Yeshitela said the FBI believes the Uhuru movement and African People's Socialist Party may somehow be involved with Russia's tampering in U.S. elections.
Notice how no liberals freaked out when they do a no-knock warrant raid on a bunch of black people because they're socialists.
That's right.
Allegedly tied to Russia.
This is like drug dealer treatment.
Yep.
They treat drug dealers better than that.
I know. Too bad they didn't have any drugs, maybe buy some better treatment.
Maybe it was just some regular N-words on the street.
What they have claimed is that they are indicting someone, a Russian nationalist who is a Russian, Yeshitela said. They have claimed that they were investigating the African People's Socialist Party that I lead in the Uhuru movement because of some association that we might have with the Russian government. According to a federal indictment obtained by the Times, Alexander Viktorovich Lanov is alleged to have worked with unnamed officers of Russia's Federal Security Service to use members of U.S. political groups as foreign agents of Russia.
Damn. Now, I do hope my good brother MG2 come on here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, he's on here. What's going on, my brother MG2?
Hey, brother Forecast, peace to you, chat. I gotta say thank you for playing that. I've been talking about what had happened to Omali Yeshitela for the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you've caught that. I've been talking about in terms of the fact that they raided them, and basically it's a way of the so-called United States government saying you cannot touch our slaves, Russia. These are ours. I've been saying that for the last in various broadcasts for at least the last 2 weeks. Actually, this Peckerwood by the name of Jackson Hinkle got it from me. And, because Jackson Hinkle's part of the Duran, the Rumble, and other, they have, like, we have our network, they have their network, and, I'm in everyone's network. The thing is I've been trying to warn folks about it because, basically their counter, their counter to make sure that the slaves, for lack of a better term, on the plantation don't so-called rise up, which most won't. They went ahead and went after the crotch grabber, the artist formerly known as Trump. In other words, emboldening their so-called FBI footprint and more of a paternalistic fascist environment which I've been trying to tell folks. I mean, basically, I'm just glad you played it, Brother Forecast, because then more black folk will be exposed to what I've been saying for at least the last 2 to 3 weeks, even if it comes from a Peckerwood. All I care about is for us to realize the environment we're in. Now, here's the deal. As what was happening to the brother that over there in Italy, because I've been to Italy many a time. I mean, I've been to Europe so many times, and Europe is a cesspool. Anyone that doesn't know that, a lot of Negroes go there saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Italy. I'm gonna go to France." No, it's a cesspool. Food is bad. It smells. It's dirty. It's a lot of pollution and graffiti everywhere.
Dirty white girls.
Well, those things, they're a different species. So, because they're not human. I don't know what to call them, but I guess that that's one of the reasons why individuals go. The thing is because of the so-called Russian sanctions and the oil prices, the energy prices were going up during the time when this was happening to the brother. Now, Nigeria had actually proposed trying to help the EU, their EU, for lack of a better term, the European Union, which is, of course, Italy, France, everybody but Britain and some of Eastern Europe, to go ahead and send them to subsidize them with oil and gas for their winter, because it's going to be a really cold winter in Europe because, Russia turned off the Nord Stream 2 and the Nord Stream 1. And so, because of the fact that, they were doing that, you had Nigeria wasn't the only country. I think Equatorial Guinea, because, Equatorial Guinea actually bailed out Portugal, who had enslaved and raped all the black women there. But I guess Negroes decide, we'll just help them out anyways. But it is what it is. But there was I think 5 different African nations said, we're going to step up and help the EU. We're going to make sure that France and Italy and, the former enslavers, rapists, and colonizers don't have a cold winter. They can snuggle and, have sugar plums dancing in their heads waiting for the 12 days of Christmas or whatever. But the thing is but this was happening while brothers are getting killed in the street. It was a lynching. The only reason it wasn't a mass, what happened to Africans in United States is because the others had to pull out their iPhones and watch. In other words, you had one, basically they could have gotten Steven Spielberg up there and say, okay, now, get all the cameras ready, direct, because they didn't need a lot of killers to physically do it. They had one killer do it, and the others were, acting as the support team, and dolly grip, assistant director, cinematographer, and everything else. In other words, the only thing that was different is they just didn't get their hands in the mix. They didn't physically get the blood on their hands, but he was still killed nonetheless. But it ain't no different. The thing that I kind of question, dear Brother Forecast, and maybe it's just me getting old, I don't know, is I question the African mind. Maybe it's me. Maybe it is something to question. The fact that we're still giving a species who has not even shown itself humanity. Remember, they had a World War I, World War II. Now they're into World War III right now. Whether folks don't want to believe it or not, they are in World War III. And we're imparting a sense of humanity on them. It's like me trying to get humanity out of an ostrich. Now, I haven't tried it. I don't take drugs, but I'm pretty sure if I took the right kind of drugs, some kind of, super Molly or something, I would try to go ahead and communicate with an ostrich. But here we are trying to do the same thing, trying to get humanity out of a species that is inhuman, even to itself. Asking, I just want to see the killer of my husband, and I want to look him in the eye. No, I mean, you'd have a better chance of trying to get a duck-billed platypus to go ahead and play chess, because I really have to question our insanity at this late stage, that they do what they do because of what they are. Not who, but what they are. Killers, rapists, exploiters, marginalizers, thieves, rapists, the whole 9 yards. So therefore, I just don't get it. And maybe I'm wrong, Brother Forecast. Maybe you can help me out with that. So I'll pass the mic.
No, I was gonna ask you, what about those black dudes that was getting on the market?
Oh my God! I mean, it's one level. Oh man, it just proves the failure of my generation to teach those that are younger. Or maybe it is. Maybe we haven't stopped social media and all kinds of so-called terrestrial media from brainwashing and dry cleaning the brains of young brothers and sisters. Because, and here's what I mean. You know, if something like that had happened like 100 years ago, say we roll this back, Brother Forecast, 100 years, those brothers couldn't come back home. They know they couldn't come back home, and the families would be like, we had to excommunicate. Maybe 200 years, maybe not 100, maybe 200 years, because we had a sense of value that there ain't no. It's one thing to go ahead and parade yourself as inhuman and something that's just a toy. That already proves to your sickness. I mean, these folks are sick. These brothers are very sick. It's another thing to go ahead and do it publicly, like, you know, oh, I mean, if I run around telling everybody, or even telling myself in the mirror, oh, you're nothing, you're just an object, you need to be, you know, you're a one, or like the Becky said, it, you know, using the term it. If I say that to myself, I have a problem. There's some mental things not connected. But if I publicly do it, that means that's a problem that is it's overextended. That's a problem that has reached the point of no return, almost. But when you let your enemy, the daughter or son of your enemy, parade you, and you're proud to show that and show the world that you are nothing but a thing and it off the so-called market, that is probably something that they'll never recover from. That is the point of no return. They've reached. In other words, their corruption is complete. I don't think there's anything at this point that can help those Negroes. A Becky and a little East Indian Becky, they do what they do because, again, what I said previously. But when somebody succumbs that bad, I think that their corruption is about as complete, almost like those unfortunate sisters over there in France. You know, and I've been over, like I said, Europe is a cesspool, and you know, we're trying to identify with something. What about us? Look at what they're doing to us. What about me? We are not them, black folk. We're everything but them. The best we can do is prove it in our actions. I pass the mic, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, I agree with you, my brother. And let me share the screen because I'm gonna show some stuff right quick. I'm gonna finish the video we was watching. You know, this is good white liberal talking here, so it's okay.
So, I mean, of course they're doing this. This is all. I told you all they have to do is say you're a terrorist, and they can take your rights away and do anything they want and lock you up indefinitely. And all they got to do is say you're working with Russia, and they can fucking do this too. And they're doing it to black socialists. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like guaranteed Hunter Biden has more connections.
Now, it pisses me off when they use us for their own political agendas and for their own whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because they make it seem like, oh, yeah, I'm standing up for the black girl. It pisses me off when they do that. They take our issues and stuff like that and use it for their own good. They're supposed to. And I guess it's supposed to piss me off, you know what I'm saying? And I do the same thing, you know, but still, you know, it pisses me off, you know. But, yo, I wanted to show you this, and I'm only gonna play a little bit of this and then a little bit of the other part because it might make our head explode. What up, my brother Guy? But you see here, they brought out the black police official to introduce the people who introduced this investigation to lock these brothers up. But I want you to hear what like the FBI be saying.
Pittsburgh Police Department assisted the FBI serving 3 search warrants in our city. It is an active investigation, but here this afternoon we have Special Agent in charge, Mr. Walker, and U.S. Attorney's Office, Mr. Hansberg, that will give you a brief synopsis of the case in our city. Mr. Hansberg.
Mr. Hansberg, please, sir. Get up out of here. So it's only two white men in the picture. And cameraman, make sure there's only 2 white men in the picture too.
On Tuesday, a federal grand jury sitting in Petrovich, Ionov, with conspiring to use several U.S. persons as agents of Russia without prior notification to the Attorney General. As the indictment lays out in great detail, for a period of over 7 years, from December of 2014, continuing through July of this year, Ionov and his Russian government co-conspirators engaged in a malign influence campaign to sow discord, spread propaganda, and interfere in elections within the United States.
Well, MD2, by the way, you could you know, anytime you want to just let me know, I'll stop the video. You know what I'm saying? But it sounds like he's trying to say there's some black identity extremists, even though we'll see later whether they are or not. You know what I'm saying? But oh man, now I guess we can get into it as we go through it, though. MG2. Now, how do you feel about that?
Brother Forecast, I've been in the same position. The only thing is I had a good lawyer, okay, and that was back in 2006. I had a great lawyer, actually, because I wouldn't be here talking to you if it weren't for him. You know what I've been posting because I know you've been listening for the last probably 3-4 weeks, because I am a black identity extremist, and I've been posting that for the longest time. I know a lot of folks that probably listen to a lot of our channels. I've been posting a lot about especially the series I have called Dear Vladimir Putin. Now, this is not the only time. I'm just expounding on things that I've been talking about since 2014. Okay, this is not new. What you see, because again, a lot of black folk don't believe it, that yes, yours truly is followed by these government agencies. It is what it is, especially after what happened to me in 2006. Okay, including Joe Biden's present so-called Merrick Garland. What it is this happened after I've been promoting black folks getting in touch with these other so-called non-aligned nations, creating economic partnerships. I should just, at least a conversation. You don't have to be partners with Russia, just make a conversation, whether it's Iran, whatever. And I'm saying, make that conversation to bring resource back to black folks. Ever since I've been saying that many a time there, Brother Forecast, Biden and his group, because I know personally some things happened recently, they have been cracking down like crazy. In other words, what I'm doing, they're trying to tell you Negroes, you better not want to leave the plantation. Do not listen to that guy. He's a bad slave. Yes, I am a bad slave. I am a field Negro, not a house Negro, unless I grind the glass up in their food. What I'm seeing there is remember, you got to see everything in juxtaposition, Brother Forecast. Whenever, like being in the music biz, I headlined a lot of shows. You name the artist, I was headlining. I remember one time we had Missy Elliott opening up for us. We had Genuine. We had, you name it. The headliner of the they might put on a great show, but the thing is, Brother Forecast, is everyone's going there for the main event to get the information from who's really, the real deal. Did you notice? Look at the juxtaposition of what you just showed. Just a little bit you showed. You had the opening act. What did the opening act look like? What did he talk like? How was he forceful in trying to tell you who he was going after? In other words, out of his house Negro mouth, he did not mention the black folk. He mentioned the Russian. In other words, we had someone from another plantation, the plantation over Russia, coming over to our slaves. They went to our slaves and was talking to our slaves, and he used the Russians' words. Again, you got to look at all the human nature aspects of it, the juxtaposition of it. Then after the opening act came out, the main event came out. Who was that? Mr. Authoritarian. I know everything. I'm your God, white boy. Now he's going to tell you why he's putting these Negroes in jail. I'll pass the mic, Brother Forecast.
Yo, with the red power tie on.
There you go.
All of which was orchestrated by the Russian Federal Security Service, known as the FSB. The indictment sets out the objectives of this malign influence campaign. Among the foreign policy objectives of Russian government leadership is to expand Russia's sphere of influence. Russia targets the United States and its allies, as well as other countries, to further that goal.
Now, unfortunately, though, the thing where I think, I think these brothers messed up. They probably was in it for the expansion of Russia instead of themselves, though. From the common theme that we see, and then they would have been like, we'll just pray it'll be okay. And then later they would have been like, why Russia? Why would you turn your back on me? That's
I could tell you because I know Omali Yeshitela. I could tell you because I followed Omali Yeshitela and the African People's Socialist Party for probably 20 some years since they were in their infancy. And what they did is more for the sake of this kumbaya neo-socialist mentality, Brother Forecast, that we're going to open the tent to everyone. And we can all, we're going to be the proletariat that's going to go ahead and get the bad white boy. And of course, what better than to hook up with socialist nations?
Mm-mm-mm.
I'll pass the mic.
No, yeah, no. I'm just listening because I guess that, and you know, because you know, we do have a God that's two-sided. You know what I'm saying, or dual-sided, if you will. But okay.
Yeah, you know, if you're talking about Black Yehudi movement, they did make some major, very, very disastrous mistakes when they hooked up with this other. There's this deviant out there. I mean, a real sicko by the name of Ghazi Kozo. I mean, we're talking the lowest of the lowlights. He's a broke back, the whole 9 yards. Well, he was getting the money because, you know, he brought in the Rainbow Coalition, and I'm not talking Jesse Jackson. And so, unfortunately, in this big tent socialist network that the Black Yehudi had, they said, okay, we're going to bring this guy in because, you know, he's speaking our words, you know. I mean, you know, and he's also bringing some cash. But then it turned out that freak, and I think this happened in Atlanta. Some of you guys in Atlanta might know this. That little freak that was there that he brought in, turns out, you know, he's in the middle of a major court case right now that includes kidnapping and sodomy and everything else with one of his boyfriends or something like that. But before that happened, the Black Yehudi had cut ties with this guy because they saw that, hey, this is not working out for us. You know, we don't want to be associated with something, you know, out of the movie Pulp Fiction. So they had cut ties with him, and not too long after they cut ties, because remember, FBI and everything else raided the Ghazi Kozo, you know, that freak, you know, because he's in a serious indictment. Not too long after that, I think it was like 2 weeks after that, then somebody probably dropped dime on Amalia Shatella. And now they're, you know, again, it's like, what it is Biden is telling Russia, you better not touch our slaves. Don't touch it. You know, these Negroes, we want them consuming. We want them getting pissed off and crying on the internet about racism, white supremacy. We want them talking about they're not black or they're not African, they're freedmen. But whatever you do, do not come in and you know, let them know that they have brains to be, you know, to be sovereign Africans. So leave our slaves alone. That's what this was about, Brother Forecast. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Through these influence operations, Russia attempts to shape foreign perceptions and to influence populations in a number of ways. It seeks to create wedges that reduce trust and confidence in democratic processes. It attempts to weaken U.S. partnerships with European allies, to undermine Western sanctions, to encourage anti-U.S. and anti-Western political views, and to counter efforts to bring Ukraine and other former Soviet states into European and international institutions. To achieve those objectives, Russia influence operations often use social media.
Let's arrest some black men for trying to bring a white country, quote unquote, white country into a European, okay.
Targeted at U.S. and global audiences to sow discord and mistrust in the United States and other countries' political systems. This social media results in the dissemination of disinformation that is intended to confuse and mislead citizens in the United States, in Europe, and even in Russia itself, as well as to recruit U.S. persons to advance Russia's operational goals.
Oh, man.
Recruitment is an important and essential part of these efforts. Russia has recruited and forged ties with persons and groups around the world who are positioned to amplify and reinforce Russia's messaging campaigns in furtherance of its goals of destabilizing Western societies.
Now, you can look at it in multiple ways, too. You can look at it like be writing down like the next play, you know what I'm saying? Put it in your playbook for next week, you know what I'm saying? And also... Go ahead.
Brother Forecast, I think that because of social media or media in general, not just social media, but the aspect of celebritized media, movies, you know, hip hop, whatever, we've lost our African minds. Like I said, I have to question our intelligence because many of us don't have a historical concept of what this is all about. This is not new, Brother Forecast. It is not new. Let me tell you why. Anytime that the African starts to take control of his own destiny, in any aspect, especially if we get international or have international aspiration, the slave devil, i.e. so-called slave master, is going to say, oh, hell no. It didn't just happen on the plantation. Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the moment he went international, what happened? Canada Lee, Josephine Baker, Paul Robeson, Robert F. Williams, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Khalid Muhammad. The moment we started to look international for aspirations, I'm just scratching the surface.
David
Okay,
Walker.
I mean, I'm just David Walker, the brother that killed Walter Rodney. The moment we start thinking, Assata Shakur, the moment we start thinking Vanya Davis, international. And when I say international, is we're going to make international alliances, and we're going to use those alliances to go ahead and further our objectives as a sovereign African. Then you have what you see right now. So this is not new. Like I said, look at the story of Paul Robeson and Canada Lee, and how they were monitored. This is no different, Brother Forecast. It's our lack of our lack being black folks, black wherever we are, our lack of intelligence and maturity to know that that leopard has never changed its spots. But yet we blinded ourselves to see exactly, hey, this is status quo. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, exactly.
These efforts have included the use of organizations to surreptitiously seek access to people in the United States and elsewhere to advance and promote Russian interest. That is what is alleged to have happened in the case that was unsealed earlier today. Everything that I've just covered is alleged in the indictment that was returned by the Tampa grand jury. The indictment is 24 pages. It details a conspiracy that occurred over the course of 7 years.
All right, so yeah, y'all can finish watching that if y'all want to, and we're gonna go through one last thing before we go out of here, because we got to see the opposite side of that though, MG2, because we see how now. Let's see how some of their spokespeople here, let's see what they have to say.
So we want to say that they are characterizing this as some kind of investigation into our affiliation with, Russian foreign governments and things like that. But one, I think that this exposes the crisis that the U.S. imperialism is in, because the U.S. and other world colonial powers have been collaborating against Russia for early into the early 1900s. And this is a consequence right now in 2022 that we see the same attack against Russia. And right now, this war with Ukraine, this defensive war in Ukraine that Russia is actually waging against world colonial powers, not Ukraine as a single entity, but the U.S. and all colonial powers who have an interest in colonially dominating African people right here in this country and around the world and extracting resources from the majority of peoples on the planet. That system, this current system, is in severe crisis, and they cannot rule in the same old way. So that's
Wait. It can, MG2, can it rule well, I know it can, but should it rule in a different new way?
Well, I'm not a thinking man, but I'm thinking in terms of why should that even be a question? It's I'll pass Mike.
No, it can't. Well, that's what she said though. MG2, she said it can't rule. It can't be in the same old way,
That's what we understand, one, about the U.S. government. And the ruling class itself states that imperialism is on the decline. U.S. power is not cyclical, but it is permanent. So that's number one. Number two, the African People's Socialist Party is an organization that has been here for 50 years. It is an international organization that not organizes just here in St. Petersburg, Florida, but right there in St. Louis, Missouri, in Oakland, California, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and all throughout the U.S., in Africa, in Europe. And the history of the African People's Socialist Party is to unite with any forces that unite with the anti-colonial struggle. And we feel that is a...
Wait a minute. So you want to say something before I play that part?
She's saying, I have to thank her, because I've been trying to get us to at least think in that direction there, Brother Forecast, outside of 16 years now? And at least on the social media, fire at least in the last 10. She's saying basically, like I said, Paul Robeson, Marcus Garvey, Ida B. Wells, you name it. What I'm saying is we're in a world, Brother Forecast, where it's more militaristic, needy, connected, informed, wanting, demanding. There's a liquidity of everything we want, including, especially in terms of information. The fact that she should have to say that, again, it's unfortunately, it questions our intelligence. If we're not making these contacts with our enemy's enemy, then that proves that we are definitely deficient in what's called common sense. I'll pass the mic.
All right. So let me play it.
To unite with any forces that unite with the anti-colonial struggle. And we feel that is a just struggle. We feel that every colonized African who is gunned down in the city of St. Pete or anywhere else in this country, like George Floyd or like Mike Brown, we feel that our response is to fight against that relationship. Our responsibility is to fight against our oppression and our domination. And that means organizing a revolutionary capacity to make that possible. And that means that we unite with any force because we understand that colonialism is a global system and that it has interests everywhere throughout the world. Everywhere that they are talking about, we have a relationship with. The U.S. is there right now plundering people's resources, but they are not under investigation. Just a few weeks ago, the Uhuru House was attacked in broad daylight, where an arsonist came to the Uhuru House and burned down and attempted to burn our red, black, and green flag that waves at our offices down.
All right. You want to say something right there, Joe, MG2?
Yeah, I just appreciate what she's saying. Unfortunately, the ears are deafer than somebody without even ears. And what I mean by that is, it's what do you use that tool called social media or any media for? And I like to listen to a lot of us, Brother Forecast, and I say it's a tool. For me, it's a tool. It's not a platform. It's not a channel. It's a tool. And I say, what do you use it for? And I'm glad she's speaking the words that I've been speaking, because I've been trying to tell all of our folk for the longest time, with especially the very first, one of the first videos on one of the channels is, talking about Russia and China and how they could, destroy the so-called West. What it is she's trying to wake up slaves that want to go ahead and push the snooze button. And unfortunately, that snooze button is interconnected to a nuclear bomb. Like Dr. Ivan Van Sertima said, it's that nuclear bomb that exploded in our heads. And she's trying to say, look, guys, do not push that snooze button. I'm not saying that we should unite with Russia or unite with China, because they've got their interests, and I'm not going to unite with anyone except for Africa. Africans are the only ones I unite with. But I'm definitely, like I did earlier today, yes, I did. I'm having a conversation with these folks. Okay, I will be talking to them not only how to trade information, but I'm gonna definitely say, hey, this is where Biden sleeps, and this is where Hunter Biden sleeps, and if you do push a nuke, if you need any assistance in the GPS, I'll make sure it gets to its target. That's my mindset of who I talk to. The unfortunate thing is so many of our folk are asleep, Brother Forecast, because of fear, because of self-hate, because of jealousy, because of ineptitude, because of apathy, because of complete and utter disgust of themselves and and total immorality. None of our folks will listen to what she's saying, Brother Forecast. She's using social media as the megaphone I've been trying to get a lot of us to use, as a tool. But none of our folks will listen, and it's nobody's fault but ours. I'll pass the mic.
All right. And here we go.
There's no FBI investigation into that person who tried to burn down our flag. There was no response from the FBI and the St. Pete Police Department to respond to this attack that came against our Uhuru House. And we also understand that that's not a coincidence, that the only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. The institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers, that was the building that has come under attack. And in St. Louis, where we have incredible economic projects that have transformed the conditions of our community. Not the U.S. government. No politician ever did that for our community, but it was us, the Uhuru movement, that made that possible. And today, this process is disrupting a meeting that we're supposed to have around initiating a project, the African Women Doula Project, that can make it possible for African women to deliver babies safely in our community. This process is interrupting that as I speak. And what this is a propaganda campaign against Russia. In that press conference where I have my ear pressed to the door, they are talking about interference in local elections and social media. No, I'll tell you, it's Mark Zuckerberg that interferes with the ability for people to communicate with one another and express their genuine interests. That's who was at the security conference for the U.S. government. It's Mark Zuckerberg who's responsible for that. And the U.S. is attempting to explain its own contradictions with Russia. because it cannot rule in the same old way. It does not have the unity of its entire population. That's what Trump represented. And they say it was Russia intervention in the elections. They say it's an undemocratic process. What does the U.S. know about genuine democracy when it takes the ability for African people to feed, clothe, and house ourselves on a daily basis? You want to talk about destabilization? Talk to Nicaragua, talk to Venezuela, talk to Cuba, talk to Russia, and ask about undemocratic processes. That's what we're engaged in right now. And they are attempting to attack this organization. They are attempting to isolate the Black Power movement. That's what they are attempting to do. And we can have relationships with whoever we want. See, whoever we see fit possible to make this revolution possible, we will have a relationship with them.
All right, now I'm gonna stop right there. Now, MG2, you already answered it, but I guess I want you to like we in kindergarten right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, I've heard her say that you know, like we have a responsibility to stand up for like Mike Brown and all of them. You know what I'm saying? Now, is she for the best interest of Russia, or is she for like the best interest of like Black people? So like we could do something about like, you know what I'm saying? Like when it says she's defending Russia, is she defending like, oh, I want to help Russia win so Russia can, or is she doing what she's doing for like so that Black people can, you know what I'm saying?
Personally, Brother Forecast, and I'm saying personally, and what I see from her body language and what I see from what I can see, I went to the eye doctor today, so it was just impossible for me to see anything today. I think it's for the interest of Black people, but also the how can I say, the organizational concept of socialism. Okay, that is also part of the agenda. It's definitely for Black folk. Okay, because I could tell by body language and everything else. Yeah, it's quote unquote Black first. And then the objectives of a collective global socialism is second. Like I say, I'm not Black first. I'm going to say it again. I'm not Black first. I'm Black only. So therefore, you will not hear me talk about others as a way of trying to, quote unquote, bring them into a certain tent that I'm into. I'm using others, whether it's Russia, China, or whoever else, as a tool for Black only. Okay, there's a difference between Black only and Black first. Black first means that you brought someone else into the picnic, like the title says. Black only means ain't nobody coming to my picnic if you ain't Black. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, and it's that we go to their picnics, you know what I'm saying? We invite them to the barbecues and we go to their picnic.
Right.
Yeah, the cookout. And then we go to their picnics. Now, would you say that she's like, based off what you said, would you say that she's Black? Because I ain't I give it to Tanzan. She cut me with that one. I don't want her to admit it. I hope she ain't listening. But with the Black first, like, would you say she's Black first, or would you say she's Black only? Like, you think she's getting invited to the picnic or invited to the cookout, or she's doing what she has to do to make sure that we got, hot dogs or whatever?
Well, she's clearly Black first. If you know the Yehudu movement, and I'm not mad at him because like I said, for at least 20 years, I've been following and listening and getting emails and contacting in the whole 9 yards. So definitely Black first. Okay. Which is okay, it's okay if you whatever you want to do. It's just that, if you ever see, and I know you study World War II, Hitler was not a Nazi first; he was a Nazi only. Okay, especially in the upper ranks of the Third Reich, they were not like, okay, we're going to be Nazi first, which means we're going to let the Judenrat in, maybe fourth, and we're going to let the Gypsies in fifth, and we're going to let the Bolsheviks in second. No, they were Nazi only. And that's a really big difference right there. I'll pass the mic.
Yo, that's a huge difference to be first and to be only. So, that makes a lot of sense now, And I see you, Tanzan. But yeah, I give it to you. You got me on that one. But all right, I'm going to keep going.
Sounds like you're not denying working with Mr. Ivanov and the Russian government. You're not denying that.
Look, they're raiding our properties as we speak. Whatever you want to know, they'll let you know what we have and what we have not done. But I will say this, that we unite with any force that is willing to unite in our anti-colonial struggle. And that part is clear. We will not refuse to engage with others around the world who want to see this system go. We will not refuse that. That's what I'll say about that.
If you are working with the Russian government, Were you not concerned at all that
The U.S. is working with every colonial government in the world, and nobody is saying a damn thing about what the U.S. is doing in Africa. What they don't raid the homes and ask white people any questions after they come back from Israel, where they're murdering Palestinian people every single day. They don't flash bomb their homes. They don't send the police there, even though they went into international waters in a place where they are killing Palestinians on a daily basis. Nobody is asking them any questions about their affiliation. The U.S. is affiliated with all the undemocratic forces around the world attempting to oppress African and other colonized people.
why not register as a foreign agent?
Why would we register as a foreign agent? We recognize that this is an illegitimate settler colony, that the only foreigners here are Europeans themselves who came here and stole this indigenous land at gunpoint.
All right, yeah, that's before we go left on that one, MD2. Let me say this, because because I like what the sister is saying, but what my fear is that as in typical hundreds of years, maybe even thousands, maybe even millions of years fashion, we have this ally mindset and not this tool mindset. When everybody else has this tool mindset and not an ally mindset, we think that, hey, you did something nice for me. Well, you know what? Just because you say that you will, I'll do something nice for you first. And then we are surprised when we don't get that. That's my fear. And that's a little bit of that energy I sense coming off of that sister. Otherwise, you know, it's what she's doing is absolutely right. It's just my fear of that hundreds of years long plague of, you know what I'm saying, of this sense of not superiorness, you know what I'm saying?
Brother Forecast, let me give you a little wisdom. And it took me a while to get there. I may have trepidation about certain things that someone else does, but if I'm not doing it myself, then everything I do is marginal and I got to be quiet. Now, here's what I mean. The fact that I might fear what she's doing, which is definitely not I'm not aligning myself with anything but Africans, but I will use anything else as a tool. That may be her perspective and a way of using it as a tool. So I can't question her motives because I'm not in her mind. It might seem that to me, but a lot of folks thought that Booker T. Washington was a coon. But if you listen to Dr. John Henrik Clarke, Booker T. Washington was the most skillful hustler on the planet. He hustled in Peckham Woods and he did good things for us to the point where Negroes wanted to stop it because of their jealousy. So the thing is, I had a little wisdom there, Brother Forecast. It might not be, to us, it might be some fear, but I'm not going to let my fear go ahead and overshadow the fact that, wait, if this is her way of doing something, even if it's not a tool, she might open certain doors where I can actually use it as a tool. She could go ahead and she might have her allyship, she might have whatever it is, although that might be her hustle or it might be her tool. I don't know because I'm not her, but the thing is it opens my eyes to say, she said anyone that wants to destroy this, a settler colonist, will work with anyone. I work with her in a heartbeat. Matter of fact, I will be doing it soon because I'm building a house. She might be using allyship. She might not be building a house. She might be building a shed. She might be building, a barbecue pit or whatever. But I could still use her hammer. I could still use her chisel because I'm building something else, but I could use whatever's there. So I have to just give that to you, Brother Forecast. So social media puts us, the first perspective, the first thing that we think of is in terms of something that will soothe our fears or will alleviate our concerns. I had to drop that, Brother Forecast, and I had to think to myself, let me give a little bit of wisdom to say, wait a minute, let me see how objective I could get on what someone else's perception is, what they want to do. Let me see how objective I can get, because that's their thing. They're building their thing. But I'm going to see what I can build. And if I'm not building, then they'll have a barbecue pit, and I'll be blowing wolf tickets about how they built their pit. Hopefully that helps there, Brother Forecast. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely got to say, I do support, what the sister, that's why, I played the thing, because I agree with a lot of stuff that she's saying. I'm just saying, like, us as in general, we generally have this, we would accept the invitation into the picnic. You know what I'm saying? We would accept those invitations a lot of times. Now, yeah, I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Like we use all of these things as a tool. You know what I'm saying? It just bothers me. You know, not that that we shouldn't use it or that sister. I wouldn't say nothing about what the sister is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, I would support her. You know, it's just it's just a lot of us have that. You know what I'm saying? That like the two God thing.
It's so, Brother Forecast has been ingrained. Martin Luther King. That was the unfortunate, apex of unfortunate, quote unquote allyship. Oh, can we go to the picnic? You can come to the cookout, which literally, set us back for like 500 years. We just haven't seen it yet. I feel you. It's and she's not going to be the only one. There'll be much more coming after her. Hopefully, we can gather all their nails and their hammers and everything else, because they might not know how to build something that might be permanent. But we can use whatever we can, because we know we're going to make permanence. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're just going to play a little bit more before we get up out of here.
That's who needs to register as a foreign alien or whatever. It's the U.S. government.
Are you unindicted co-conspirator number 4?
All right, well, you see the line of questioning the white boy has for her, too. But she's handling herself well, though.
What's at stake? Because they didn't give us any of that paperwork. You want to know my name? Because I can tell you.
Co-conspirator 4, whose identity is known to the grand jury, was a United States citizen residing in St. Petersburg and the director of agitation and propaganda.
I stated my name is Akile Anai. I'm the director of agitation and propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party. I ran for office in 2017 and 2019 on the platform of reparations, the first time that was ever done in this country, under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. It was the African People's Socialist Party that did that campaign. It was African. See my public records and the donors that came through that we have to report publicly.
Wait, hold on. So, I know I get it some political or whatever, but like, hold on, black people can't take Russian money.
Well, Trump, he took $2 billion of it, and Biden and Hunter took not only Russian, but they also took, I think, Hunter Biden is up to $800 million right now in Chinese money.
And I'm confused by his line of questioning, because did you take money from the? I mean, as in good old Hunter getting ODing off that, what I'm saying, Russian cocaine.
Brother Forecast, I'm trying to get it through our heads, Brother Forecast. That's why I don't care about what these Peckerwoods do or say anymore, because all they're trying to do is set a precedent. I told folks this a long time ago on the live stream. Everything's about precedent. Okay, precedent is so important. They're setting a precedent for us, you and I, and everyone here in the chat and in the circles. They're saying, do not get international, and they're telling other nations, do not touch our slaves. If we can't see that, then whatever hell comes our way, we deserve. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, thanks. Yo, what up, Bobby, Catherine?
See that? See, check our public records. You want to be a part of the state's investigation? You check their public records and see what resources we accepted.
Yes or no? Did you accept Russian money as part of your campaign?
You are trying to make this discussion about something that it is not. You want to know what this real problem is about? If you are genuinely interested to know what this situation is about, not living fancy land about whether or not I accepted money from Russians, this is real. Not the way you want to see it, not the way you want to control the narrative. What I'm talking about right now is that they're using Russia as a part of a propaganda tool against the people to turn you away, to win, first of all, win your unity with the U.S. government. The U.S. government has no ability to answer any of your questions. None. It can't solve any of your problems, and they tell you that it's Russia's fault. Russia is not in your community causing you to starve. Russia is not in your community pushing you out. Russia is not the St. Pete Police Department that killed Tyron Lewis in 1996. It was not Russia. It was the U.S. government that did that.
Are you concerned about being arrested yourself?
I am not concerned about what the crisis of imperialism and how it will act. No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not really late for all this stuff. This seems like a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right now.
It started 600 years ago.
Yeah. So what exactly is the FBI accusing you guys of?
They are accusing us of this is what they're making it about. And I want to be clear, this is what they're making it about. because the African People's Socialist Party has been here for 50 years. And this is not the first time we've come under any kind of assault, FBI investigation, or anything like that. This will always be the case as we try to fight for our freedom, because African freedom comes at the expense of U.S. interests. That's just how that goes. And a couple years ago, they labeled Africans who would struggle in their own interests as Black identity extremists. They have terrorist designations for people like us who want to fight for our freedom. So I want to make that clear, that this is what they're saying it's about, but they need an entry point to be able to attack our movement, and this is the one that they're using. But they are accusing us of conspiring with the Russian government for, I can't even tell you because it don't really make that much sense. You know what I'm saying? So this is what they are accusing us of conspiring with the Russian government, and for whatever purposes and interests they have not explained. But I guess this comes at the expense of U.S. democracy, which isn't that very democratic. So
Now, yo, before I get to the, because even since I first started doing my lives, I've often said, you know, when you see organizations and movements that have been able to stay around for this whole time, you have to kind of look at it like with a side eye, like the NAACP around hundreds of years. Now, maybe in 1929, you know what I'm saying, like we could have signed up for the NAACP and been proud, you know, but like after World War I, it kind of, you know what I'm saying? But then when you look at the movements that tried to do something, a lot of this stuff got exploited. You know, J. Edgar Hoover made his living off of destroying every quote unquote Black Messiah that came along. But when we understand what the real Black Messiah is, it can't be stopped. But, you know, we understand that, you know, and like, so what do you think about that though, MG Sue, and anything she said, if you want to add on?
Yeah, I all I have to say is I really appreciate this young lady. I do. She is doing everything that most either have a channel or social media or either scared to do, too inept to do, self-hating to do. I have not heard anybody on social media except for probably myself say what she's been saying and doing what she's doing. I have not heard anyone Black, Brother Forecast, nobody. I'm gonna say it again, no one mention what she's been saying, it even with the fire that she's saying it. Okay, most Black folks that I've even encountered, everyone on social media, I have yet to hear somebody say that they're a Black identity extremist. I say it with pride. Why? Because it scares the daylights out of some cracker who came up with the term. Some peckerwood comes up with a term, and I'm like, whoa, what's that? And he's like, you better be scared of them. Well, damn it, I'll be it. Whatever makes them scared, if they said it's the Great Pumpkin, I'll be the Great Pumpkin. Call me Charlie Brown. Whatever makes my enemy say that you're my competitor, my enemy, and I fear that you will, I'm it. Sign me up. What she said, and I love her eloquent, the way that how she eloquently puts things, and actually, she actually brings the narrative back to herself, even though Peckerwoods do what they do. I mean, their media is supposed to go ahead and do like Malcolm X said, make a guilty man look innocent and innocent look guilty. But her brilliance and the way she's, making that narrative go back to, throwing the fire, basically hitting the ball back in their court, and they can't handle it. I got to hand it to it. Again, like I said, she's the only one right now that I know of, and all the years I've been listening to social media, the only one, Brother Forecast, that I've heard speaking in the words that I keep trying to tell Black folk in terms of their international footprint, not being afraid to say they're terrorists, not being afraid to say, look, I don't care about these oppressors. I'm here to take them down because this is for the self-interest of Black folk. Although she widened her tent to Syria and Palestine and whatever, that may be a tour or a hustle. I don't know. That may be her perspective. But I have not heard anyone, again, it might be fear. Oh, they're going to get my channel, or they might come after me. I might lose my job, or hey, I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at Black folks because they make the decisions they make. But I question anyone who questions Black folks to make the decisions like what the sisters make. Because clearly they're not. And in the years I've been listening to these so-called platforms, I have not heard once anybody speak like she spoke. Not once. Now, in terms of these organizations, and I'm talking about in terms of the years that they've been around, you know who the Brookings Institute is, right?
No, explain it.
Okay, no worries. You know who America First is, right?
Yeah.
And you know who what's the other one? It's gonna drive me nuts. He started off as an economist, and now he's got a lot of these young folks following him. Candace Owens is part of his.
I know it's like something USA or something like that.
No. It starts with a D, and I can't remember the name. And it's a guy. But he's got Candace Owens and a lot of these young, like Jackson Hinkle's a part of it, and all these young, right wing neo Nazis a part of it. But anyway,
go ahead.
No, it starts with a D, and it's just one word, and I can't remember the name of it. Now he hasn't been around as long. Maybe he's been around almost as long as Yehuda. Brookings Institute, which is hardcore right wing, and so I think it's called America First or America such and such First. They've been around for a long time. There's a lot of organizations like that. But I don't see anyone questioning their efficacy, even if they didn't get a lot of stuff done in those 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years that they've been around. I never hear anyone question the efficacy of, even though they're very effective, much more effective, at least in their productivity, than Yehuda and a lot of these so-called black organizations. Brookings Institute, they elect presidents. So they've definitely been effective. But then when I look at, like, I'm not a member of Yehuda per se, and something like I'm a follower. I just like to listen to what folks have to say. And I will definitely want to be in the loop. And one thing I have to say, unfortunately, I know that like NAACP, I have to say all these groups, Brother Forecast, again, let me give you a little wisdom. Every one of them only have a measure of efficacy that they can only bring to the table. And I have to measure each one of them on what they can bring, not on what I want them to bring, or I can't gauge them on each other or even against Brookings Institute and these other cracker organizations on what they can bring. I'm saying the efficacy, the effectiveness of what they are. I have to, I love to give black folks a little wisdom on this. I have to judge them on what, first off, what are they, what do they do for themselves, and what can they do for black folks? And then I'll say, and then when I say judge, I'm not saying in a good, bad way. I have to say for me to be able to work with them or at least learn from them, I have to say, what's the efficacy of their message, of their activities, of their plans, of their of their defense, like what she's doing now. NAACP, we know it's not effective, and all those so-called core and all that. We see their efficacy only lives for so long. In fact, we saw with Brother Jay, Grandmaster Jay, I think his name is. We saw what their efficacy was. What was the effectiveness and what was the impact? In terms of activity, in terms of plans, in terms of their message, in terms of being able to defend themselves. I have to go on an inch by inch, because if I try to blanket a lot of these groups and say, well, they've been around forever and look at what, none of these, I might be short-sighting and shortcoming myself for being able to see some strengths and weaknesses and pluses and not only minuses, but also how I can use them, and they can use whatever resource I have. They could use me, and I might be short-circuiting or shortcutting something that might be beneficial, like a gold mine that might be sitting somewhere, because I might be saying, well, I've seen a lot of these movements. They ain't done that. Again, Brother Forecast, this is what social media has done to us. We've been listening so much to the Umars, to the Tariqs, to the Sonators, to the all these Negroes that are out there. We've been listening for so long that we entertained by this feeling of emotional satisfaction and validation that, he's going to do this. He building a school. He building a museum. We're so into their message that when they say things like, well, they ain't done, this group and that group, we cloud ourselves and we shortcut ourselves. And then all of a sudden we don't learn and we fall into this cesspool of non-productive Negroes. And I try to get us out of that mood, Brother Forecast, get us out of that to say, wait, let me see what they're doing as an isolated case. Every one of these movements, NAACP, civil rights, whatever, everything to me is an isolated movement. Because I know there are some things that one cannot do that the other has done, and I could use certain strengths, but if I close my mind or my eye to any of it and say, blanket, I don't want nothing, they're not just saying I don't want nothing, but I'm going to look at them in the same context, I might be limiting something that might be a gold mine I can use. Hopefully that'll help you out there, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, and I'll say this because I definitely, and that's just the thing I'm noticing, with this, you see how with this organization, she's doing something and they are being investigated, what I'm saying? You see the situation they're in, and I picked out, a specific group like the NAACP because their founders were mostly Europeans, and Ida B. Wells was one of the founders, and she was one of the first people to push back because she realized the agenda was not necessarily for Black people because of who was the leadership that was involved, what I'm saying? And that has been the theme that I've seen though, the ones that's been able to last and stay around, what I'm saying? They have tended to be, you know what I'm saying, more not towards the best interest, you know what I'm saying, just based off like if we go through like the list of the ones who's lasted for years, as opposed to groups like this who have been like, infiltrate, or even like the MOVE organization, how they got bombed in Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't necessarily agree with all of their politics because they was like power to all the people, but they was actually doing what they was supposed to do, you know. And I don't know, I just kind of seen it as like a common theme like that so far, you know what I mean?
Yep, brother Forecast. That's why I say it's on an isolated basis, because most folks that have to talk about what this group is doing usually don't have a group that they're doing something themselves, or it's very ineffective, or it's basically wolf tickets. And that's why, like, NAACP, which was actually formed out of military intelligence, with the Julius Streicher and the others from the Niagara movement, it was basically, a spy network to go ahead and see what Negroes were doing. I have to judge it on those purposes. Whereas you have Nation of Islam, which was, was a Negro organization, for lack of a better term, post Malcolm X, what they did to him. I have to judge it for what it does and what it can't do. Everything I have to do, otherwise I'm going to limit myself, Brother Forecast, to saying, well, all these groups that have been around forever, they ain't this or they did that or whatever. I have to say, all those groups that have been around forever, not only why, what was the outcome, good, bad, or other, and what is their objective right now, good, bad, or other, and is there anything I can garner that I can use for whatever organization I'm a part of that can use it as a tool to either learn not to do or to go ahead and say, hey, I like that, and we're going to have to do that. So it's just one of those things there, Brother Forecast. I'll pass the mic.
Right, absolutely. All right, we're gonna play the rest of this, or not the rest, but
Well, with our position, we continue doing what we've always done, which is organize our community towards African revolution. And we organize a response to this, just like we have in this response right now, just like we're able to put out and define what this struggle is about. That's what we'll continue to do. And we'll continue to organize as necessary around whatever they try to drill down the pipeline. But like I said, this isn't the first time, our first go around with the FBI. So we are prepared, to take it where it needs to go, and to the full length of however long this investigations last. We will organize around it. And that's another thing. You touch me, you touch the African People's Socialist Party, you touch Chairman Omali Yeshitela, you touch Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshitela, any member of the African People's Socialist Party, you touch a member of the African nation. This is an international organization. We have bases throughout the world. So you don't just touch an individual, you touch an entire organization, and you touch an entire people who are counting on this movement right here to lead us to freedom.
Why work with Russia, who is a known U.S. adversary? Why work with them and be unregistered? Why take their money?
Did I ever say I took any money? See, no. No. That's what I'm accused of. I never said that. So don't put that in my mouth. I didn't say that. Did you take money look, I don't want to answer your question because you want to take it somewhere. I don't want to take it there. I've defined this for you. No, I will let them tell it, because that's the people you'll believe. That's the people you'll believe. But you want to ask any question about why we would affiliate ourselves with anybody that is willing to unite with the anti-colonial struggle? That's what your question is, essentially, for us.
Why a U.S. adversary that we've had issues with in the past? Why work with them?
Because I don't identify with you and the U.S. government. I don't identify with that. I detest the U.S. government and what it does to African people on a daily basis. That's what we are here for, because we refuse to allow the system anymore to take the lives of African people. That is a logical thing for me to do.
You do understand what the indictment is about, unregistered co-conspirators. I mean, you understand what they're doing.
I understand what they are saying this is about, and I'm telling you what it's about for real, in the real world. Not how not how you want to see the world, but what it actually is. This is happening in the context of Russia at war with Ukraine. This is happening in the context of our building being potentially burned down. This is happening in that context.
Do you think, is Russia, are they the good guys in the war against Ukraine? Do you think, from your perspective, like, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy?
Russia, we are in support of Russia. I'll say that. African People's Socialist Party, and that's been public. That's been public.
I want to understand.
You're trying to understand.
Right. Why would you support a larger country invading a sovereign country?
Because you don't know the history. You don't know the history. You don't know the history
Now,
of
it's
Ukraine and
interesting.
Russia.
This white boy said, before she get into the history, and then we're gonna wrap it up after that. But it's interesting. He said, "Why would you support a larger country invading a smaller country?" As if this white boy doesn't, defend America invading wherever the hell they feel like invading. You know what I'm saying? But you see how he tried to get her with those questions, and a line of questions he keep bringing it back to, and he's the specific one doing that. But yeah, you want to say something about that, MG2?
Yeah, I really love the fact. Like I said, she's doing a lot more than most. I have not heard this, and I've been on social media since its inception. I have not heard it out of any one of the folks, even a lot of folks here, idolize. A lot of folks in the chat, and a lot of folks here probably idolize certain individuals. But I have never heard them say, "I'm doing this for African Revolution because I detest America Kuka." She said, "I detest your government." I have not heard it once. And I can put some names out there. I mentioned a few earlier. Not once. And I've been listening to these cats for damn near 20 some years. What it is, where she and I differ is she said, "Hey, I haven't taken money, and how do you know if I took it? That's not what this is about." Me, Brother Forecast, on the other hand, I'm taking money. If it is to build a nuke, if it is to destroy United Snakes, I don't care if it's a penny or $1 billion. Hey, let's talk. Because unlike me, she's definitely, she's very cautious and saying that in other words, she's trying to play the program the way that, and using America because rules to play the program. I want to cheat. Okay, anything that I can do to destroy United Snakes, hey, I don't care how much it costs. I don't care what nickel I take. I don't care if I have to keep Peking duck and eat borscht and drink vodka every day. I'll do it, damn it. Because I'm not going to censor my tongue. Because that's all I got. Unlike her, and I like what she's saying. She didn't want to say BIE. I will say it in Joe Biden and Donald Trump's living room and say, "Yes, I am him. I'm your worst nightmare. I am the greatest threat that you've ever seen and want to be. If I'm not it, I'm going to go ahead and take lessons. I'm going to get on Udemy or whatever to take lessons of however I can be a threat to anything United Snakes is." All I got to say is I really admire what she's doing, and I hope some of us will reach out to her. I pass the mic.
Right, absolutely. And even if it ain't none of this white boy business, what she get, what she doing with her money, how much money she got, why is he in her pockets? You know what I'm saying? Well, he's supposed to be, but
Of Ukraine and Russia. And you don't know that Ukraine is just a cover for the world colonial powers. You don't understand that. That's why we are against world colonial powers. That's what we are against. And if Russia is against world colonial powers, then we support Russia. That's only logical.
all right. I don't know how many commercials in this, so I'm gonna keep playing this.
That is available online at Burning Spear TV on YouTube. That webinar is available. Yes.
You know this guy. You know Alexander.
She just said it. We've had this discussion. This was a virtual discussion, so it's virtual.
Will you continue to work with Russia, or at this point, based on this,
We will continue to work with any force that supports the anti-colonial African Revolution. We'll work with them.
Is it possible they're using you?
The African People's Socialist Party is an organization that's been here for 50 years. No, because it's a backwards question. Because it presupposes that African people don't have the capacity to lead and struggle ourselves, but we do. And Chairman,
Wait, that white boy was I like her answer, but that white boy was trying everything he could. Like it's because they used to actually ask them questions back in the day, like, yo, is whoever pick a leader, is Elijah Muhammad, is he just tricking you, Muhammad Ali? You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
they like to do that kind of thing, and I like her answer.
Mm-hmm.
the African People's Socialist Party is an organization that's been here for 50 years. Because it's a backwards question. Because it presupposes that African people don't have the capacity to lead and struggle ourselves, but we do. And Chairman Amali Yeshitela founded this organization over 50 years ago, in which created the capacity for the African working class to determine our own futures. Russia don't determine Africa. Nobody else determines Africa but African people ourselves. And that is an insulting question. The African People's Socialist Party stands on its own and is able to make determinations for itself, which we've been doing for the last 50 years. I didn't in the 2020 election, in the presidential election. Well, there wasn't anybody speaking to my interests, and when nobody saying reparations to African people, nothing. So ain't nobody get my.
Wait a minute, she didn't say lesser of two evils, MG2. What the hell?
I guess she didn't get the FBA WhatsApp. You know, she missed that memo.
Yeah.
But in theory, there are groups you would say no to, right?
There are groups we would say no to that would work against the interests of our community and our people and the struggle. Yes, we would say absolutely no. We would say no to the Democratic Party. We would say no to the Republican Party. We would say no to the Green Party. We would say no to these forces that work against or try to maintain this social system. So yeah, we can't say no.
So as of now, I mean, you're listed in the indictment, not your name, but are you, so they have not said you're being charged for anything like that yet?
Nope. Not. We don't even have the indictment. So we have no idea. We have, this is.
Ever cross your mind that this was maybe a bad idea? That this could happen. I mean, when you're talking to Russia.
I think you really got to know history, because when you see the Black Power movement of the 1960s and what happened to the Panthers and what happened to, Africans who were organizing during that time, they got gunned down, they were thrown in prison, all these kinds of things happened to our struggle. And I voluntarily joined this struggle, recognizing that this is the history of what this government does to a people that struggles for its freedom. It struggles for true democracy. This is what it does to the people. So no, I did not enter this work being afraid or thinking that this was a bad decision. I follow the leadership of Chairman Amali Yeshitela and African internationalism, and it does not steer me wrong.
Yo, now MG2, I'm gonna ask you a question, and not in a chauvinist way or a sexist way. Are you upset that this is because like we should have a bunch of women speaking, so it's not that way? But are you upset that you seeing a woman do this and it's not a brother?
No, because she took because of her position in the group, they have the best spokesperson. Whoever is the best spokesperson to get your message out, if it's a woman, a man, it could be a 3-year-old, or it could be your pet cat. You want to make sure that your message gets out the way you want it to get out. And clearly it seems that, it seems just to be her that actually does it. I wish maybe that they did have brothers, but they probably weren't as good as spokespersons getting that message out. Everything is done with militaristic precision. So irrespective of who, it's using that precision to get the objective taken care of. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah, there you go. And I was just asking that because I was just thinking about those brothers from earlier, and I was like, do you think that there would be men doing it? That was kind of the way I was getting at, because I don't want to say like, because of course, women can do it. That's why I was like, but
Mm-hmm.
So there's never a concern that again, working with them.
It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what we do.
And you're not willing to say that you did not take money.
I'm not willing to say anything without my lawyer present.
But you may have taken money.
I'm not willing to say anything without my lawyer present.
and still asking about, are you still taking money?
No, he was not arrested. He was put in handcuffs as well as our deputy chair, Zanae Yeshitela. But they were not. Yes, they were released from handcuffs. But their house was broken into. This is St. Louis, where our party is currently headquartered.
Did it used to be headquartered in St. Petersburg?
It did. Yes.
Why did it move up to St. Louis?
Because we found a more strategic base right there in St. Louis. So we have, we have a presence all throughout the U.S. and we have leadership in all of these different places. Every region in the U.S. we have leadership, but the most strategic leadership right now is in the center of the U.S., which is St. Louis.
What does the FBI say to you? They told you anything?
No, they gave me that. No, they didn't tell me about this press conference either. They didn't say nothing to us. We came here, we couldn't even get in the press conference. Had to have our ear to the door to even to know what was being heard. So we haven't heard anything.
It's not concerning to hear that they believe that the federal government believes the Russians were trying to influence elections and essentially on some level take the vote away from from just average citizens? They were trying to put
The
their
U.S.
thumb on
does
the
this
scale.
all the time and intervenes in.
We're not talking about the U.S.
No, that's what I am though. You want to make it about Russia and think that Russia's the big bad guy that intervenes in local elections or something like that. When the U.S. government has this practice, it's a historic practice where the U.S. government takes elected officials that the people put into office and destabilizes that government and outs them out. No, it's not. It's directly connected. You want to see it as another story, but it's exactly the same.
I understand your point. I'm not even.
You can't possibly understand my point.
I do, but I guess.
Now it's wonderful. I'll play the rest, but it's wonderful how she controls the narrative. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're accusing the Russian government. Of
Yes.
working.
I understand the propaganda campaign that's being waged against Russia to make Russia the big bad guy when it's the U.S. government that has had this reign on the entire world for all this time. This is what you want to make it about. Russia is the big bad guy. Russia's the problem. Russia is not in my community doing any of this stuff to me. It's not the reason why me as an African woman is catching hell. It's just not. It's not responsible for that. And that's what we have to make clear. That's what we have to make clear.
Can you spell your name for us, too, so we have that correct?
Yes, it's Akile, last name Anai.
And who is the leader again?
Omalia Shatella.
And can you spell that person?
Omali, last name.
All right, I'm gonna start right there. Now, let me see. All right, so yeah, she definitely did a wonderful job. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you, MD2. It's hard to, you can't say anything unless you're out there, you know what I'm saying, doing something yourself, unless you're trying to build something yourself, but I always got to encourage Black people. We don't always have to, and I'm not saying that they do that, but it's just the problem that a lot of us have this to where we are apologetic, you know what I'm saying, unlike this sister was, and it makes us so unapologetic that we don't stand up. We see Black men standing there posing, you know what I'm saying, while their quote unquote girlfriends auction them off, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We see, all the stuff that we've seen, and we still accept the invitations to the cookout, or to the picnic. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's that unapologetic nature, because we can learn a lot from this video and from that sister right there, So yeah, what you got to say about that?
Yeah, all I wish is a lot of what Black folks do, even the Pan-Africanists and the pro-Africanists and the Black First and the whatever we call ourselves, they like to speak, they like to preach to the choir, and they're only, they like to listen to their own music only when it feels good, when it's playing in the key that they want it to listen to. And here's what I mean. When I peruse a lot of social media, because I listen to everyone, I don't hear anyone talking or even espousing or whatever, especially in terms of man hours and time. I listen to how much time she had, folded the narrative back to them. In other words, throwing the ball back to them that they couldn't answer. I always like to gauge things in terms of time and the percentage value, that's used in time. And I heard her do it, and it was, I could actually, give you a rough percentage of the time she was doing that. When I listen to folks do that on their social medias, it's more like, I want to preach to the own choir because this is the only key of music we like to listen to it in. And I'm talking across the board. So many Black folk I love with their social medias, whatever. It's usually the same old rehashed narrative. A lot of it is for view getting. We know that, because Black folks like to be celebrities, all of us. But when it comes to absolute, transparent, non-evasive, very, very, cut and dry, clear-cut reality, in terms of a narrative, I have not heard that yet, except for now. And what I mean by that, Brother Forecast, is, and it might be, like I said, evasion, evasive techniques. It might be fear. It might, because, hey, I got a job. I don't want nobody thinking, hey, man, he's been talking this way. Look at, I know why I'm not mad at us. I know we have to look out for our self-interest in a place where we've been colonized, subjected, and continually being marginalized and raped in. We are, as Black folks, continually being marginalized. So I understand the decisions we make. I cannot get mad at them. I can't get mad at the Yehudu movement and their decisions. I could learn from them and say, oh, okay, this is what I'll do. But the thing is, Brother Forecast, is, I personally, and I would professionally, would like to see more of us do what she's doing. Because if Moore did what, if Moore stood behind Fannie Lou Hamer, Ida B. Wells, and I'm talking Africans, irrespective of the white so-called allies or anybody else that was around it. If Moore stood up, like they say, there's strength in numbers. I'm not just talking physical numbers, I'm talking even in the numbers in terms of empathy. Like, hey, man, I see what you guys are going through, man. I just wanted to go ahead and give you a shout out. Is there anything I can do? Or is there anything, I might have this info, whatever it is. If there were more strength in numbers for that, Brother Forecast, I think that she would not even have a problem, or those that were like her. I tend to think that both personally and professionally, I see the statistics that when you have others that, like I said, even in empathy, even in somebody that say, hey man, I got your back. If you need you need a shoulder to go ahead or somewhere to vent, I'm right here for you. Just that kind of mindset. I have a feeling that knowing that there's strength in those numbers, even from folks that might be fearful, I might lose my job, or that individual they're sleeping next to in the bed, unfortunately, might not, whatever it is. I understand. I'm not saying I promote it. I'm just saying I understand. I have a feeling that in those things of numbers, you're going to be able to fight someone who, no matter how many FBIs or anything they send after you, they're going to be very ineffective. Okay, they're going to be, or it's going to be a lot more costly to them than it is to you. Basically, a simple art of war. Remember, Russia gave Trump $2 billion, and they're still pissed off because he didn't give it to Hillary. China gave Biden, Hunter Biden is up to $800 million, and God knows how much he gave that they gave Joe Biden. I mean, the Chinese gave Clinton more money than you can even count in a lifetime or 10 lifetimes. So the thing is it's not like, oh man, see what they're doing to us, but look what they did. I expect them to do what they do. Let me give you a case in point for the Forecast. I hear black folks, our folks, constantly do this, and it really kind of makes me sick. When you see white boys get off on a court case and black folks don't, or anything, or somebody did something with a bank, white boy did something and black folks couldn't. And I hear it too many times. It really wants to make me vomit. And I hear, well, you see, if it was one of us, they would have this and that. Or, you see how they're allowing them to get off, and he raped and murdered 6 people, and they wouldn't do that for us, man. We'd be under the jail. The thing is, black folk, we are not them. They're socio-psychopaths. We are not them. We are not human. We are above human. They're not even human. They're not even people. They can't even, it's like trying to, it's like, old gum underneath the bench trying to go ahead and relate that to something that's godly. But yet we put ourselves into this scenario of trying to equate ourselves with the world's most experienced demons, rapists, degenerates, psychopathic sociopaths, thieves, exploiters, marginalizers, the whole 9 yards. And what I saw with what she's doing, in a way, she was trying to say, look, you guys did that, and I like the way, I like to say she's a good spokesperson for the situation. I have to say, Brother Forecast, I hope that, if anything, not only was this a lesson for folks to learn, but hopefully they do this on their own. If they don't want to reach out to her, make your own organization to where you could go ahead, like the video I put up a long time ago. No, it was like, I think 2 weeks ago. I don't know if it's still up. A video that I was telling Biden and everyone else who thinks that I'm not going to talk to Russia. I said, kiss my black ass. Matter of fact, I think I said that we should make it a religion. Hashtag KMBA, Kimba, kiss my black ass. And I think she did it better than I did on a video, on a small video. I would hope, instead of us bloviating our quest for views and other very non-effectual topics, I hope that we could go ahead, even in our own individual circles, do what she did, and in effect, tell these folks to kiss her black ass. I'll pass the mic.
Yes, MG2, and you definitely said, what I wanted to say, because it, like I said, like, when people doubt or whatever, why do you spend your time like trying to tear somebody else down instead of spending the time to build whatever it is that you feel, you know? And I feel like a lot of these arguments be BS because you can literally just focus on what you think needs to be focused on and literally go out there and do that. And we look for a lot of different reasons to tear down these organizations or what they're doing. Like, yo, based off the name of something, you know, like, yo, in business class one time, you know, one of the teachers told me, like, yo, if you want to make a business, don't you really use a name because it'll make it a smaller business other than just using a regular name or something like that. Now, I don't know. I'm not as versed in business market, you know what I'm saying, to know if it's true, but I've seen it like kind of be like make it smaller. And I've seen it also make us to, rather than look at what the people are doing, you know what I'm saying, we look at a name, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, Pan-African, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, well, they're Pan-African, so they can not possibly be doing something great. They cannot possibly be doing something good. We look at the propaganda. Now, how can you use two enemies against you? Like, well, you can go back, if you're Pan-African, use Queen Nzinga, how she used other people against them and other groups. Maybe it's not the best whatever right now, but it is what it is. You know what, if I could start something between two people and if I could use that, then and I can get them to annihilate each other, guess what they're doing to you? They're getting FBA and Pan-Africans to annihilate each other while they just bank off both of our resources, you know? And they're not going to be like, no, I'm not going to use your resources because of this and that. And it's not about whether you're right or wrong. It's not about good or bad. It's about, you know, surviving, about being on top, about doing what you have to do to win. You know what I'm saying? And that's what everybody does except for us, you know, and we have to, you know, we are more so like, yo, everybody wins and all of this. But, you know, the people who are out there doing something instead of you joining, or if you believe that it's fake, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us believe a lot of stuff is fake. Make your own, you know, that it's real, you know. If I feel like I need to do something, I'm gonna go out there and do it because I know that it's real because I did it. You know what I'm saying? So if that's really the truth, then that's what you would do. You know what I'm saying? But yo, MG2, you wanna yeah, go ahead and close out. Take as long as you want.
Yeah, I mean, I might put that video back up called Kimba, hashtag Kimba, kiss my black ass. And what that meant, and a lot of black folks were like, oh man, he bold. What are you talking about? I like to tend, Brother Forecast, this conversation is not new. Matter of fact, I think you and I were talking, we were in a Virginia plantation back, I think it was 1702.
No, it was 1704. It was 1704.
1704. You and I were there. We were out in the field. Okay, I'll never forget this. 1704. And I was sitting there and you were going, yeah, you see that elder over there? And I'm sitting there going, man, you know, I mean, because I tried to run off that plantation. I think it was like 5 times. They cut off my left foot, then they cut off my right foot. They cut off my left hand, and then they whipped me in my back and put the pepper and the salt in it. I'll never forget that because it was on a Wednesday. And I remember you saying, hey, MG2, are you all right? It was 1704. I think it was in the middle of September. And this young lady came up, and she said, and she was just, I mean, she was just bold as all else. I'll never forget this. She was just like, you know, this crackhead, this, that, and the other. And you could tell that she was bold because she had all these whips in her back. I mean, you could tell her back was just torn up like there was no tomorrow. And she was trying to tell folks, and you looked at me, and I was like, yo, young brother, you know, she is definitely not going to, there's a term of either dying, you know, standing, dying, or living on your knees. And she definitely has not lived on her knees. And you had told me, you said, yeah, you know, yeah, elder man, I remember that. You know, and I'll never forget because she was out there just throwing up her fist, telling everybody this cracker done did this. He raped three other young folks. I mean, she was just letting the whole plantation. And as she was doing that, some of the other Negroes that were house Negroes, they were out there. You know, I was an American, sir, and I was do this stuff. And then there were some of the field Negroes like us that were out there, but you know they were saying, you know, we're gonna go ahead and put together our own little this, and we gonna, which is cool. I ain't mad at them. Hey, that's their decision. You know, they're sitting down there. Well, hey, it is what it is. But I'll never forget the look in that sister's eye. And as she was going on the plantation, she said to us, now I don't know if you remember her telling you this, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And she says, you guys might look at me as something crazy, something that might not be effective, something that you fear, or that you fear my results. But if you don't listen to what I'm saying and adapt it to your life and how it could possibly help you in your life, 400 years from now, at least 300 years from now, and definitely 200 years from now, you guys will be saying the same thing. You're over there, elder, you're going to be sitting there at the plantation going, yeah, yo, they done cut off my other foot. And the young brother be sitting there going, yeah, you know, I'm gonna try to do so. I got to change these folks. And the other one, the Negroes out in the big house will be saying, no, I was an American, massa. Look at me, I'm foundation. And the other ones, the other field Negroes will be running around going, I'm a descendant of Frederick Douglass, and I'm gonna build a school, and I'm gonna build a museum. She said that like it was yesterday. I don't know if you remember this, Brother Forecast, but you and I were on that plantation. She said, I remember all this. She said, you might not like what I say. You might not want to listen to what I say. You might not even think about what I say. But at least listen to what I say and see if you can adapt it to your life now, or 400 years from now, definitely 300 years from now, and it's a guarantee 200 years from now, you'll be saying the same thing, picking cotton, and saying we gotta, and saying white supremacy. I think it's what, 300 years now? I think we're 300 years into 400 years into the paint, and have her words come true. I'll pass the mic there, Brother Forecast. Thank you for having me, and I'll listen to you. I'll listen offline. Peace, family.
No, yeah, definitely. Damn, the one right, MD2. And you know, I will say this though, you know what I'm saying? I'll have these N-words fighting for themselves for the next 200 years. All I have to do is convince the lowest black person they're highest than everybody else. And all of these N-words will be voting or working for themselves for the next 200 years. And I feel like we could do that. You know what I'm saying? I forgot to ask my brother MD2 before he got off where he would have went to the picnic or not. You know what I'm saying? But yo, I appreciate my brother MD2 last words. And you know what? For my last words, I'm gonna let it be this.
How do you feel about the Black Panthers domestic war here?
Well, we black people as a whole are at war, I would say, with the white power structure, not physically, but we have different approaches to win the battle. Like, for example, Americans in Vietnam, one American is fighting from the air. The other American is fighting on the land. Another one is on the shore shooting them with the ships. Another one is a secret spy. Another one's in a submarine. They all are fighting the same common enemy, as they say, the Viet Cong, but they have different approaches. See, black people all are fighting you all for freedom, justice, and equality. One believes that intermarriage is going to solve it. And 200 years from now, we all will be a beautiful cream color. He really believes it. One believes that getting them some rifles and shooting up the country is going to solve it. Another one believes that education, one day we'll be the president. One believes that we got to get into the white man's pockets and get all the money. You've got hundreds of billions of dollars that he'll never see, I'll get to. But he believes that one day he's going to get most of the money. But we believe that the answer is separation, marrying our own kind, cleaning up for self, doing for self, and getting some land and building our own nation. So the Black Panthers are a group who figure that they are right and doing the thing the way they see it. But we don't all agree with each other, but we're not here to talk about it. But I will say, on violence, Elijah Muhammad teaches us it's impossible to be violent against the most powerful military country on the planet. It's impossible.
Mr. Gaynor.
Mr. Ali, if you feel that the white man is your common enemy, do you foresee eventual physical conflicts between your movement and the white community?
No, sir. I would like to say that when you say my movement, when you say not my movement.
Well, the movement of
right.
Elijah
So
Muhammad.
you got to watch all this because you'll have me think it's my movement. It's
Hate
not
to
my
do that.
movement. See, that's what they did Malcolm X, and he wouldn't straighten that out. He would talk like it's his movement. It's not our movement. It's not like it's God's
Do you
movement.
think
We
there'll be
believe
an
it's
eventual
God's
conflict?
movement, not only Elijah Muhammad's teaching it to us. Not with Muslims unless you attack us. See, after each meeting, we say that we don't believe in being the aggressor, but fight like hell against those who fight against you. but not be the aggressor, which is nothing's wrong with that. But I like to say that Muslims are never in violence with white people. It's the black man who love you. See, when you don't let him in your toilet, you don't let him in your restroom, you don't let him marry your daughter, you got to fight. So we're not going to be bothering you. You understand? Muslims don't come in. We don't have no trouble with you. It's just the integrator.
Do you allow white men in your meetings?
No, sir. Not in religious meetings. No, sir. It's a fact.
No, sir. No, we don't let them in unless we put them on the chopping blocks. But yo, I appreciate all of y'all for listening. My sister Raw, definitely. You know, MD2 the truth. I'll say MD2 Raw, probably more. The only ones I'll say more extreme to me. Catherine, Lightbearer, Tanzan, shouts out to you, Bobby. You know, my brother Bakari, Bitter Medicine Podcast. You know, Learning Curve, The Revolutionary Matrix. Shout out to her. My brother, Time to Work, Tracy, Rashid. You know, everybody that showed up. I appreciate y'all, man. Much love, and I appreciate it. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.